Hey everyone, Don and Ash here,
Hello.
back for another reaction video. This time we're going to be jumping into part 4 of Arcane's Bridging the Rift. Can't wait for this one. This one, they're going into the music. It's called Musical Misfits, and I guess we're going to get a lot more about the audio, about the whole series,
Yes.
from maybe a bit deeper of a dive into what the voice actors were doing in their time in the booth, to the music, which is just legendary in the show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love that like at the end of part 3 we did get a little bit of the music, and I was hoping that this was gonna be the next section or
Yeah.
episode, and I'm just so amped to get into this because like like the music was so integral to the storytelling as well. And it just, I'm sure you all know, it made such a difference, sent chills up your spine, prepped you for those moments, caught you off guard a lot. Like it was just phenomenal what they did.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Foley artists as well. Can't forget about them. Yeah, big shout out to them. So, I mean, let's hop into this episode and see what they've got for us.
Yeah.
Let's go. Trying to prove them all wrong once again. Yeah. Let's go.
Is it dumb that I have goosebumps already?
No.
At Riot, we've always loved music. In fact, in certain countries, people don't call us a game company. They call us a music company, and they say we're making games to do marketing for our music. And so, obviously, when we dived into a TV show, we knew music was going to be a big part of it.
Music is obviously personal to Christian. It's personal to a lot of folks on that team.
I think Alex Yee once said, when you go write a script, and I think it's the same thing with music, you know, when you go write a song and you sit down to do it and someone asks you, oh, are you gonna write a great song today? It's kind of like going, you know, maybe, you know, it's kind of like going fishing, he said.
Yeah.
I know what tools to use. I have experience to know where the best spots are.
Welcome to the playground.
But whether or not I'm actually going to catch one, We've worked on all kinds of genres at this point, and when Arcane came about, we said, hey, we're going to craft a full album of all these different songs, of all these different genres. It really was the culmination of all the different skill sets that we've developed over the many years on the music team to craft something that's really unparalleled.
It's time to say goodbye.
This is probably, not even kidding, my favorite song of the whole album. Like, this one just gives me immediate goosebumps.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, like Ash has goosebumps.
They're like ridiculously big.
I have goosebumps. I like, you know, I like one of the main songs, the one, What Could Have Been by Sting. But this song I find myself playing repeatedly, and it's, I don't even know. I feel like it's one of my favorite emotionally moving songs. Whereas, like, later in the album, they have, like, you know, more like action songs, like the rap-based songs that are more like, you know, for action and stuff like that. I love those too, but this one I really love.
Yeah, it just, I mean, again, like I was gonna say, it just hits soul deep every time, and a lot of them do, but this one just hits differently.
Yeah, it's, you know, she says goodbye like 20 times in a row, and I'm just like, you know, whatever on the lyric side.
Yeah,
I'm just like, it's just how it's delivered. It's just amazing.
Yeah, agreed.
Welcome to my studio in North Hollywood. This is where we make some of the music for Arcane. Follow me. So we were going for an incredibly messy aesthetic of gear everywhere. We don't invite people over. You're the first human beings I've seen or invited here in years. We prefer dark, no windows. I love this space so much. It's the first time I've been able to have like an actual piano. I've got the most important instrument of them all, obviously. The French horn here. Everything I do is just French horn, and then I'll just auto-tune it to sound like other instruments. It's a trick that I learned in school. Just kidding, I'm way in debt for my college loans. It's a sad story.
What made Seaver really, really special is that he's not only extremely talented at writing melodies, you know, for pop vocals, but also he's a classically trained musician. He went to Juilliard as a French horn player, and when that career failed, he became a really successful pop artist.
So blunt with it. He's like, when you failed there.
I've been working with Riot since about 2016. Each year for their Worlds event, the biggest esports tournament probably ever, we write an anthem for them, so like a big pop song. Legends Never Die was the first like Worlds anthem that I wrote. And about 2.5 years ago, Christian reached out and he's like, what do you think about Arcane? Do you want to get involved? And I was just like, oh yes, please, this was the sickest.
We always wanted to make music part of the development from the very beginning instead of just this post-production phase.
You know, before he gets into this, I'm going to say before I forget, it's funny, I mean, they call them pop songs, and I'm sure they are poppy, but they are infinitely better than any pop that is current and popular nowadays on the charts or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
they're so much better than, like, what you consider popular pop music. I'm like, cannot
Hands
stand
down. Yeah.
today's pop music. But these songs, if this was where pop went as like a mainstream thing, oh, I'm all for it again.
Yeah.
I'm all for it because it's not. I mean, I'm you know I could say I'm a metalhead mostly or whatever, but I definitely like pop music for sure.
Agreed.
Michael Jackson's pop music, and he's the best.
Yes. Yeah.
All right, let's go.
You know, that it often is in film and television.
The first time I heard about Arcane was pretty much a series of index cards stuck to the acoustic treatment in Christian's composing room. Technically, he was still a composer then, but he had the story that he wanted to tell, and he had ideas for who he wanted to help him tell it.
Music on Arcane started with Alex Temple, who is just an incredible composer.
But at that point, I hadn't done any longer form narrative work. I'd done shorter form narrative, whether it's like a 3 to 5 minute trailer or things like that, but nothing approaching the scope of Arcane.
Can you show me what this is?
So this is a gudgeon. I might be pronouncing it slightly incorrectly, but yeah, normally it's played. It has a pentatonic scale, and you can affect the pitch by, bending over here. I've been using it completely incorrectly, playing the back side of the instrument, or even sort of playing it with this singing bowl mallet.
For the first few months, at least, we actually stayed away from any like picture material from the show, and we just explored themes in isolation for a character, every character.
I think when working on a theme, you want something that clearly makes a statement about who this character is, but you also want something that's adaptable. So this is the beginning of episode 3. We have this vocal melody that comes in.
You see that screen right there? Let's go back. You see this screen right here? This is like my ideal setup. We're running a 3-screen setup, but like, oh man, for my timelines, do I want like a wide screen? I've always said above my main screen, I want a huge scaping wide screen so I can see, like, when it comes to video editing or I guess sound stuff or any editing, I can see my timeline like forever.
I mean, that's quite a beautiful setup, yes.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely sick.
The beginning of episode 3, we have this vocal melody that comes in. So, for example, we have this character, Silco. He's kind of one of the villains of the show. He's a complex character. He has good reasons for some of his motives, but he's sort of a villain. The music that I end up writing for him is not sort of villainous at all. It's very sort of welcoming and kind of seductive in a way.
To me,
so sometimes when we use these sort of motifs, they come back in kind of subtle ways.
yeah, to me, the song sounds like a story of loss.
Yes.
I like
Yeah.
that's how I would summarize it. Adversely to how he's saying it. I mean, he's the composer, right? But for me, as a viewer, the way I
Yeah.
take it, it's a story of loss. So it's a story of sadness and sorrow, which makes sense for Silco, I would think.
100%, yeah.
Wow, dude.
Kind of very confused, distorted version of that melody we heard performed so beautifully by the soprano in the other cue.
We really wanted to have just melodies, for characters. Like, you should feel like you remember this character in this moment when you hear this melody.
I love that.
They're always there, but sometimes they're darker, sometimes they're brighter, sometimes they're faster, but they're always there.
Alex Temple, the lead composer, he's just such a god-tier orchestra composer, like to a level I can't get to.
First violins at bar 13 can play that out a little more.
Okay.
Thanks. One more for luck, and then we'll move on.
Nothing in this room moved. Nobody knocked anything over.
It's funny because I was a French horn player growing up, and so I listened to just all this Mahler and like Bruckner and all these people, and so I thought I was obsessed with it, and then I'd talk Mahler with him, and he's just like, oh, the specific recording of George Schulte from 1975, I prefer the third movement versus the Bernstein recording, and you're like, okay. Okay, you win the nerd contest.
Yeah. You're like, ah, whatever, buddy. When I was a kid, I started out on a violin.
Chen is a phenomenal violinist. You never know quite what it's going to be like working with, somebody who's at the top of their field.
Ray plays as a soloist with the Los Angeles Philharmonic, the big orchestras in Europe, London. He's probably the first classical violinist who plays on like a $20 million Stradivarius to an animated series.
He's got a lot of patience. A lot of the time, the music I put in front of him, it's written because we know he can play it.
I like how the character's kind of him.
Yeah, it is. It's inspired by him, I think. I remember reading it. I'm not sure if it, in a comic or a video or wherever, but I do remember reading that it like specifically was to like honor him in the series. It would look so cool.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, don't drop that violin. $20 million Stradivarius or whatever he called it. Yeah, no.
They're definitely not cheap.
Yeah, that is not the word. I honestly feel like people who play on like priceless instruments are crazy, because there are instruments that are like, I don't know about violins, but in the guitar world, rather than playing on like a $20,000 or whatever it is, vintage guitar, you could just make the exact same sounds on like a $1,500 kind of like, like show guitar, like famous like musicians do, like guitarists. They keep your expensive one at home and go play with the one that's going to do the exact same thing, but only costs like 1/20th the price. Man, he is insane.
I don't know about that.
That was horrible. My God.
Yes, who is the composer who composed this?
We're approaching the finale of the first season. It's getting very dramatic for all of our characters. This is a cue that's based on the theme of the character Victor. This is around the time when he pushes his body and the transformation further and further, and kind of gets seduced in a way by this hex core, and starts to kind of lose parts of his humanity. And there's kind of like a like a terrible beauty, if that makes sense.
It's a really tragic moment, but it's also kind of a tragic ascendancy, because it's like, it's not a good thing that's happening. But at the same time, this is kind of like a leveling up of the character. This is an important stage of his development.
To make the song sound epic and twisted, which
I've
they
been
definitely
doing
did.
orchestra stuff with Alex Temple for about 2.5 years. And it was only about a year ago that we were like, let's do a 11, 12 song pop soundtrack to go with the show.
There's a girl in town and words gonna rhyme. She's just fine.
We knew that we also wanted to create these special moments in every episode with music, and so with the editors and the directors of Fortiche, we tried to find a moment where the music can actually take over and be in the spotlight.
Good old MIDI keyboards.
Working on Arcane, the pressure is pretty high. All these great, amazing artists, and the story is amazing, and the animation is amazing, the score is amazing, the sound is great, the music has to be good too, the songs have to be good.
I also want a shirt.
Sebastian is like ultimate homie for me.
I didn't see it.
We did Rise together, did Awaken together. I cannot like wait to work with him any chance I get.
Sebastian is this interesting character. I remember in his interview, we always asked him, like, what kind of song would you make for this character, for that moment? And he would just go, I don't know. And so we were like, we don't know if he's the right guy for the job. And then you just start hearing the songs, and all of a sudden, you're just blown away. He's the kind of person that just does, but doesn't talk about it. We call these the banger labs, or where all the bangers are made. Well, we heard there's some music going on.
So I had already worked on cinematics for Riot and music videos and things like that. But Arcane, the extra difficulty was that, you know, the purpose of the song is for a scene, is for the story.
Who told you it was out here?
Unlike other movies and shows that might have just like a standalone incidental soundtrack of pop artists, we actually wrote these to picture the way that you would score something.
I've seen your face around here. Come along, tell me under the table, what do you see?
I know for Sebastian and myself, it was like really difficult to like figure out that language where we're getting things to feel like a song, but also getting them to dodge between dialogue or like hit peak moments to picture, which might not be happening at a set tempo.
This moment is so awesome.
I think so much in what we do with the songs, you can kind of find parts of the world as well. Like Zon, this underground world, where a lot of things kind of get repurposed, reused, mangled, distorted. That's what the drums kind of also tell me. Where I feel like, okay, if Jinx would design a kick drum, what would it sound like?
Oh, they have a bomb in it or something.
When we worked with B. Miller, she had recorded some really amazing improvisations. Like this for example, is... She totally understood the vibe of what we were trying to convey, you know, descending into Zon, and it just was perfect.
This live action set is pretty cool.
Seriously.
Live action is so finicky
My
to
dream
do.
was that we could kind of write the songs early enough so we can even still edit, you know, sequences and boards to the music. I think what we found pretty fast is that we would have this issue that we would approach all these artists and we'd say, hey, we want to make music with you, make these songs. And they'd say, oh, cool, that's awesome. When do they go out? And we would tell them like, oh, in 2 years. And they would go, oh, never mind. You know, so what we did instead is to actually write the songs ourselves and then bring on the artist to kind of like, you know, either just sing it or find their version of it.
Wherever you are, light it up and I'll find you.
Yo, EQ is probably the most fascinating thing.
Funny.
All right, sorry, my dude, got to mute you for a second. The EQing of music, sounds, voices is one of the most interesting things because obviously there is where you can really just take sound, which is like Play-Doh, and mold it into whatever you want. And I feel like it's something that's so daunting and feels like it's hard to understand at first, but once you get it, it's like a big playground where you can just do whatever you want. It's like so much fun once you actually understand it.
Funny enough, we didn't even initially think about Wood Kid for this song. We had him for a different one, and he happened to hear this demo and went, oh, let me do that one instead. And it was the greatest thing that could have ever happened. This was like sort of an action-y piece when I had first written it, and then he turned it into the most chill-inducing string thing I've ever heard. But
yeah,
so
honestly.
Like, it always just starts here, and then you never quite know what it's going to end up being.
Echo scene was
The other
sick!
big one was the Jinx Echo fight in episode 7.
Yeah, this fight.
Got that vibe figured out, and then for the vocalist, the rapper, we're like, okay, we have some ideas of who could be super cool. Like, okay, let's see what can, you know, let's send the track to them and see do they want to do it, and also, you know, are they going to do something that fits? You know, Denzel Curry was one of them.
In this gothic underground city, we all sin. If I bring a couple rounds with me, then we all win.
Jizzle was another one.
Just might kick your butt, go run amok, then paint my nails. Never learned to raise my hand, was too busy raising hell.
And Brenjo, he sent us a demo that was kind of sounded like a female vocal. I was like, oh, that's a really cool, catchy kind of chorus part. Turns out it was him just pitched up.
Oh yeah, you mad? I'm racking up white diamonds. Throw me in the sky, you would swear the sun shining.
All three sent us really awesome stuff. So we got 3 demos, like, oh my god, like, what can we do? A little bit of a challenge just from having so much good material. How do we make it in, how do we make 3 songs into 1 song? Let's try to use all 3.
Yeah, no, I think the blending that they did between the 3 artists is perfect.
Yeah.
All the voices contrast each other
cool
and
challenging
complement.
thing about working on Arcane songs is you get these puzzles.
They complement each other very well as well. Like, they did such a fantastic job. You know what's funny is the first time I heard Denzel Curry was on a cover of Rage Against the Machine song, Killing in the Name of, and I actually don't like it that much. I'll be completely honest. It's kind of like meh to me. I just don't, like, some artists just don't, they just, when it comes up to a certain genre, they're just not quite the fit. You know what I mean? Like, if you're a Lego piece, you're not fitting in that spot, dude. That's not how I'm going to complete the line. You know what I'm saying? But on this, I like it way more. I feel like Denzel Curry absolutely smashed this out of the park.
Yeah.
And this isn't like a hate on him as an artist. I just think that the Rage Against the Machine cover just wasn't quite the vibe for him. So
that's fair.
Yeah, I'm like, I love this though.
That you have to solve.
The pitched up voice totally tricked me.
Yeah. This is so top notch.
Season 1, everything we did for music was kind of happening then, like, after the cut, the episodes were already done. And so now, if we do it early enough, we would have the ability for the artists to just kind of write whatever they want, and then we can cut the episodes to it. I think it was such a limitation for the writing musicians, you know?
Working with Christian is pretty special because he's a musician. That's also another great thing about him is that he's not going to waste time. If it's not great, he'll tell you. He'll tell you right away, yeah, it's not working.
Can you play the 57, just solo it real quick? I just want to hear it because I don't know if the orchestra always makes me feel like it's more convoluted than what it actually is.
Christian started his career at Riot in an entry-level position, answering tickets when players have a problem, whether it's a technical problem or billing problems.
No
then
way.
only a couple years later, he started to write some music, and only then we realized, oh my God, this guy is an amazing talent.
Okay, he's got something here.
Christian, you know, the first time I met him, he came onto campus, very quiet, very unassuming, other than, of course, the neck tattoo. And, you know, I'm like, so, you know, tell me, what jobs have you worked? What have you done prior to coming here? And he's like, oh, well, you know, I did some music. You know, I was in a band. I traveled around Europe doing some tour kind of stuff. I was like, don't care. How well will you serve the players? It took me a little while to realize that he was, in fact, a big deal. I believe he told me the biggest audience he played in front of was like 100,000 people.
What?
Christian's a freak because he gives us feedback like, no, the cello needs to be an octave lower and it needs to be this dynamic. Like, he just knows how to speak music.
Look at his little new age or new metal Linkin Park look. Awesome.
Amazing.
Needs to be an octave lower and it needs to be this dynamic. Like, he just knows how to speak music. That's my favorite Christian feedback. When I released my album, I had one song that I was like super into, and I'm still really happy with it. But I just remember Christian was like, and Christian liked it when I was working on it. And then he heard the final, he's like, it sounds unfinished.
You know, you gotta break them before we can build them up.
Yeah, we're also
blossom like a flower.
Establish dependence.
He goes to give us high fives and we flinch.
Right.
We're all so broken.
Right.
It's going. It's just the episode 8 track where he's gonna have to pivot. It's the last song we had to come up with, and this one was
the hardest one.
Yeah, really.
The concept was
ambitious.
Ambitious and hard to execute.
Bro! The song that starts playing to this scene, go watch the episode, because I lose my bloody marbles, man!
It's true. It's so true.
Scene
We're so right.
is so sick, it's not even funny how sick this scene is. Oh my goodness!
When you kind of go into it knowing like, by the way, this is the big champion moment for Vi and for Jace, and this needs to be great, and you're gonna question every choice you make because it's like, but is it great? And so it's also just expectations are always really high. So this is a bit of a Hail Mary just to kind of say, hey, we couldn't really figure it out, and so someone had recommended Paris, you know, just because she has a really cool sound, and then we just kind of went, maybe we should just let her do her thing. So
Hoverus?
like a demo they send over, and yeah, we're just kind of opening it up for the first time.
Her name's
Cool.
Paris?
Paris, yeah.
Why they gotta be there? So I wonder if they sent her the music and she just came up with lyrics to it, like it was a complete pop song that they sent to her, or what?
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
She's like that. She's right.
You know, her voice just feels like kind of something that Vi would. The attitude's really, really fun. She even has like the shaved side, and then like the nose ring. I was like, she kind of is Vi.
Hey, it's Imagine Dragons, dude. I don't mind this band.
I'm Dan from Imagine Dragons, and this is our studio. This is where we did Enemy. So I'll take you on back. Well, hello.
Yo, he's tall.
Hello.
Yeah.
This is Daniel Platzman, our drummer. How's it going? Ben McKee, our bass player.
Oh, fancy meeting you here.
And Wayne Sermon, the guitarist.
I gotta be completely honest. I look at this dude, I don't see singer. Football player, businessman, workout junkie, like bodybuilder or something, like, pre-body. I don't see a singer. Every time I've ever seen this dude sing, I'm like, what? Like, what? It doesn't make any sense, bro. But no, he's a great performer. He's a great performer. Not my favorite band, but I think they did a great job on Enemy.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And this wasn't planned at all. I can't believe you guys are in here. At the exact time.
What are you doing here? I just felt like I needed to be here.
Someone's dad? He's just like someone's dad. Like, come on.
That I play on League of Legends, so I definitely associated with it. And
that was the question I had. Like,
yeah.
Do all of you play or some of you?
The three of us play. So Platzman plays. Ben's a more old school gamer.
Did you try League?
I have tried League. I am a simple man.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. We have definitely been late on stage in front of, I don't know, tens of thousands of people, maybe hundreds of thousands of people, because we were finishing a ranked League of Legends game. Yeah.
Shut up! That's so jokes.
Riot, we've worked with them for a long time, and we've been a part of the community for years. And I love Christian. We vibed out. He told me about what he'd been working on. He showed me a lot of slides and storyboard. At that time, it was in the very early stages of Arcane. But it was enough.
Bro, shut up. We gotta finish this match. Get the pentakill. Go, go, go. He's like, dude, do you not hear us cheering for us? The crowd's like, yeah, yeah. He's like, no, get the kill.
Yeah.
That's too funny.
That I understood the dynamic at play with, the sisters and Vi and Jinx.
Manager's freaking out.
Makes you different, makes you strong.
As far as Enemy goes, I think there's a lot of times in people's lives where you just feel like alone, or you feel isolated. And that song is written in isolation and feeling kind of you against the world.
Searching to be home.
Like, yeah, them.
When my back was to the world, smiling when I turned.
It's funny because I'm like, I guess so. Because the reason is I say I guess so, not that it's not exciting, but they're already wildly famous. So for them, I feel like it's like not a mind-blowing opportunity. Whereas somebody who never got to this level, I feel like they would just be like, oh my god, like yes, this is the biggest thing I've ever, right? But Imagine Dragons was already huge, so I feel like for them it's just another interesting project. But cool on the fact that they do play the game. I think that's the biggest pull for them.
Yeah, like you get to be not part of the game, but like part of the iteration on that game, I guess.
Story. Yeah, story. This guy's playing a box. Look at this guy's hand. That tattoo, that's wild. See? That's what's trippy about him. Like,
yeah.
That's what I'm talking about when he does that, and I'm like, football players don't sound like that. Another one of my favorite scenes when Vi just smashes her.
I mean, it goes without saying, like, the last scene of season 1 is probably going to be an important scene. And it was this beautiful montage, and they had tempted up with this, like, stunning David Bowie song. And they're like, you know, Alex, could you write us a song that fills this moment? And you're like, sure, I'm going to have a panic attack first. I'm going to go see my therapist, and then as soon as I center myself, try and write a song that lives up to that moment.
Well, bravo, dude.
So here's some of the initial stems that I had done. It was just like a piano and my own vocal.
I am the monster you created. You ripped out all my parts.
That is a massive pop filter.
The way it starts is just like a person just like lamenting. I mean, it was really Jinx's voice in this song. The lyrics for that one came quickly. The difficulty with that was writing a song that's structured properly, because Jinx fires this rocket at first, which is like a beautiful moment as it soars across the sky. And I wasn't at the point in the song that something that big was supposed to happen yet. So we had to like figure out how to write almost like a bridge section that is this rocket blast moment before we get back to the second verse and before we continue the song. Christian would give us feedback and we'd kind of hit our stride, and then it would be like, okay, which artists do we want to have sing this?
I am your ghost, a fallen angel. You ripped out
I tripped out when I learned that Sting.
Sting was at the top of our list. I mean, it's pretty convenient to be like, oh, we'd love to have Sting. Like, oh yeah, would you? But we had him there, and we were able to talk to him about it and get him into it and show him the sequence, and he was just really generous, and it did exactly what we had hoped, which is just elevate it into this moment that is kind of above everything else. Like when you hear Sting's voice enter, you're just like, is that Sting?
Yeah, how epic. Yeah, perfect.
What could have been?
You know, it's funny because you work on these moments for so long until you actually, like, you think, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. But you just don't quite know until you actually see everything done. And you just have that feeling for like 2 or 3 years where you go, I think it's going to be amazing, but I'm not quite sure. You just kind of have to wait because you just, you know, does the music come together? Does it have that kind of magical touch? You know, like, does the storytelling come together? Does the acting kind of come together?
We're bleeding money, and for what? His dreams of rebellion. He's losing control.
I'm curious to see how it will go when this show hits all the platforms so people can watch it and it's released, and how it'll go for our League audience, you know, and also kind of like the general audience. Our League audience, they will certainly tell us how they feel. changes
Oh, yeah.
the emotion, but all I really hear is just the. It's pretty scary to know that you're working on something that really cannot fail. You know, like that's not an option, and so it just makes you question everything.
Oh, it's it already.
Yeah, wow. Wow.
Dang.
I don't know where to start with that one. Breaking that one down, to be honest. Yeah, that end song with Sting was written very well. They were all written very well, to be honest. Like, it's hard to pick a favorite or something. I've listened to, on YouTube, the album and all the various songs, like, countless times now.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, like you said, you can't really, like, choose a favorite. Like, they're all such, like, I would say pivotal moments. They're all so put together and executed so well that yeah, no, I can't pick a favorite.
Yeah, no, everybody's amazing. From like Alex Temple, the guy who was like the super nerd when it came to like musical classical lore, I guess you could call it. Yeah, they're all so integral to like making it what it was. You know, Ray Chen, I think his last name was Chen, the violinist, was amazing. Bloody hell, they were all amazing. Like, I wish the episode was longer, so we got um, more of a sit down with each individual artist and each individual song. But I mean, I could sit here for like 4 hours, you know, going through a full length version of everything they talked about in every episode.
Like easily,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know, I'm blown away. I think that the song we didn't hear about, or they didn't really go into, was Goodbye. I was expecting to hear something about that. They played it at the start, but I was expecting to hear something more about that. I thought that the live action set with like B. Miller was amazing. I don't think we've seen that one. We've seen some of the world's open ceremonies, and we know how awesome and epic and everything they are.
Yeah.
But I don't think we've seen that one. So yeah, more of the last couple years ones I don't think we've seen. So that'll be an interesting thing to maybe watch. I know a couple of you guys have asked us to check those out.
Yeah.
I feel like the EQ and the technical side of it and how critical, but still like open to be changed and open to be malleable everybody was to the songs and the process, and not being um, not just being stuck on a certain version of a song or anything. Like they're really open to change and making it the best it could be. And I think that, I don't know, it made it 10 out of 10 in the end. Like, what can you say?
Yeah, it definitely like allowed the song to become and flourish into what it should be and what it ended up being.
Yeah.
So that was really awesome to see too.
Yeah.
I think one of my favorite little things was that they started by making just those simple melodies for isolated characters, characters or in their isolated times or their alone times. I think that was really cool because it also gives them like a base to work off of for the actual songs after that.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I personally think that they aren't related. I personally feel like the small moments is just like it's almost like folly for a character. It's almost like building up. Like if a character has like a certain song that you always hear when they come on screen, well then every other smaller moment with them just has to have something that complements the main song or that reminds you of the main song. So I don't think they're used as bases for me, or I didn't get that impression. I just think that they're complementary pieces of music to remind you of that character's base core sound.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, everybody's gonna have like a different interpretation, a different take of what the music means to them. So you know, nothing. It's not like anybody's take is wrong or anything. It's really cool how they talked about some of the songs at some of the really important moments at the end of some of the later episodes. So like episode 7, when Vi and Jace were fighting the Chemtech super soldiers. Like I said, I lost my mind at that moment because I really like how they let that artist. I think that was when they did it with Paris, the artist named Paris. The energy that they captured, like, you know, I wish they would have dove more into the songwriting process of that and how they actually came up with the final version of that song. But I do like how they gave Paris kind of like freedom to put her spin on it or whatever.
Yeah. Definitely.
You know, and I had the question, like, I think it was one of the later songs. I had the question, okay, did they finalize the song and then give it to the artist, or they give the artist like a work in progress version that you know, I'm just really interested in all the little changes that they did from first version to final version.
Yeah.
Final version 19 save. This is the final one. .psd.
Final 3.
Yeah.
Actually, final.
Yeah, no kidding. No kidding. This is very enjoyable. This is very enjoyable.
I think the other little cool thing I remember was I think it was for the song that's in episode 6. The flare scene, the guy that did that one, where he originally wasn't going to be on that song, he just happened to hear it and then said, "Oh, can I be on that one?"
Woodkid.
Yeah,
You're talking about
that's
Woodkid.
correct. Yeah, I think that's really cool to see happen. Because honestly, it's like it wouldn't have happened if he didn't happen to hear it, you know. So it's like
Yeah, it's
I don't know. I'm one of those people that believe like everything happens for a reason, sort of thing, or like believe in serendipitous moments and stuff like that. So
chance. It's just chance.
Yeah.
It's literally just chance. It could have gone one way or the other, and it's really cool that it did happen that way.
Yeah.
It's literally just chance, you know. And it's when you look at it that way, it's crazy because yes, on the other side, what are the chances of it not happening? Much greater than the chances of it happening, right? So
Yeah.
it is very cool that that's the path that they found by chance.
Happenstance, yeah.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's very cool how like they talked a little bit about Christian's kind of history before working at Arcane.
Yes.
Like as I've said in previous videos, kind of going through a hard time in our lives right now. So I am sort of looking for a career change, and like I've wanted to get into the gaming industry for a long time, and it's something I didn't go to school for or anything, so I don't have any training in that. But every time I watch one of these bloody episodes, like I said, they inspire me so much to do something artistically, creatively, whether it's music, whether it's me trying to draw something, which will look just as good as your 2-year-old drawing. But I'll try. But no, it really does inspire me. And to hear more his, the realistic, practical route, not just the inspirational route, but the practical route.
Yeah.
Like, dude, whatever he did before, that's great and everything. But he literally started as a ticket person, like
Yeah.
a support person.
Yeah.
Do you guys know how many jobs I've applied to for like a ticket or online support person or something? I feel like it's hard to get into the gaming industry nowadays, but I feel reinvigorated and I feel re-inspired by Christian's path. I just do. I don't know how else to explain it. I feel like, in the back of my head, the little ball of inspiration is saying, I can do it too. So
Definitely.
that's really all it is. It kind of just humbles me, and I really do enjoy watching these because it is something that picks me up a lot as a creative. It picks me up a lot and inspires me to keep going and push for more. So
Yeah, I like full-heartedly agree with that. These
Yeah.
are always inspiring. That's about it. It's always inspiring.
yeah. I guess we're gonna wrap it up there. That was absolutely amazing. I would love to nerd out about all of the technical setups, all the studios we saw. I noticed how like I was like nerding out. I didn't say it, but there was like as the camera panned across. I think it was I'm not sure if his name is Alex Seaver, the guy whose nickname was Seaver. I'm pretty sure that was his name. I'll see if I can pull up on screen here just for a second. It's let's see here. It's this guy. So when we were looking at this guy's studio setup, he had a Universal Audio, some piece of audio equipment, right? But it was by Universal Audio, and that's just a company that I've looked at before for audio gear. And I'm just like, my little nerdy brain's like, ooh, piece of candy. I'm like, ooh, what's that? What's that? What's that? So yeah, I would love to like man, if Riot did like tours of their studio, I would literally throw my wallet at the screen and be like, whatever it is, to just walk through your
Yeah. What is it? What do you want here?
Yeah, walk through your headquarters and just see all the cool tech that you guys use to make the stuff you guys make.
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, that would be amazing.
But yeah, I think we'll wrap it up there. You guys will have to let us know your favorite moments, the things that inspired you most, your favorite song.
Yes.
And your favorite song and your favorite moment from the show, where little tidbits of that song might have played, or and it's just anything to do with the audio. Let us know what your favorite moments were. If you are working as an audio engineer or something, tell us the ins and outs of your job and how that all works. Yeah. Just literally nerd out in the comments with us because we absolutely love it when you guys do.
Yes.
And as always, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. All right. Bye.